guys, and welcome back to my channel. Saber Casey here. Today I'm going to be doing my 29-week bump date. So if you want to hear how that week went, then just keep on watching. Today I am filming in my son's room. I'm still kind of playing around with places in our house that have the best lighting and things like that. I will probably start filming in Lucille's room here pretty quick. We are still working on getting her nursery set up, so I'll probably move in there once it's all semi-done. Last week I talked about how giant I'm feeling. Like, I just feel humongous. Like, my belly, it is just round and hard and out there. I just feel so big. With that, I know I've mentioned in the past that I really love to take baths, like bubble baths. That's like my thing. And here lately, I almost don't even want to bother with it because I'm so big. It's so much effort to get in the bath and then get my body out of the bath. It's borderline almost not worth it because it's just so much effort physically. This past week was Easter, and my dad and sister came and visited from out of town. So my dad and my husband Ben, they put together Lucy's dresser because that came in last weekend. And then a couple days after that, Lucy's crib came in. So Ben actually finished putting that together last night, and it is so cute. I'm really happy with the way the wood turned out because her nursery is all lighter wood. Like, Liam's nursery is all the dark, like, brown wood. Well, his room, I shouldn't say nursery because he's a big boy now, but her room is more like the light wood. Anyway, sometimes white and lighter color wood I think looks kind of cheap, or can look cheap, but anyway, I'm really happy with the way that those turned out. Y'all, these night sweats and hot flashes are about to get the better of me. I am sweating so much at night. It is just, I'm almost dreading going to bed at night. I get so hot, and it just seems like nothing I do helps, and it's just, I'm so uncomfortable. It's very odd for me because I'm cold natured, so, and I hate being hot. I mean, who likes being hot? I know it's gross, but I seriously feel like I need to change our sheets like 2 or 3 times a week. Like, I'm so over it. And it's the end of April, so, and we're in Texas, so it is only gonna get hotter, and I'm just, I don't want to say I'm miserable because that's dramatic, but I'm so hot all the time. And I have mentioned this in several of my bump dates, but the insomnia I feel like might be here to stay because it's been here for so many weeks. I have been waking up every single morning at 4 o'clock, like on the dot. It's like I have an internal alarm clock, and I wake up at 4 o'clock and I cannot go back to sleep. This morning I woke up at 4, and then I tried to go back to sleep for maybe 30 minutes or so, and then I just kind of got on my phone for a little bit, and then I went back to sleep for maybe an hour before Liam got up. But man, the struggle is real. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed at night. It doesn't matter how my bedtime routine is. It does not matter. I wake up at 4 o'clock, have a hard time going to sleep, so I'm just not getting a whole lot of sleep. And even if I was getting more sleep, I feel like I'm not getting good sleep. So, like, I wake up and I'm sore, or I'm sweating and I can't go back to sleep because I'm hot. So good sleep has been really hard to come by the past several weeks. The Braxton Hicks are still here this week, and it's really odd. So with Liam, I always felt my Braxton Hicks like on the top of my belly, and with Lucy, I feel them at the very bottom. And I guess I never really thought about feeling them in different places. Let me know in the comments below where you felt Braxton Hicks, or if it was just like all over, because I didn't really even think about where I felt it until I've been feeling hers like in the bottom. So I've been having more of those, and it's weird because I don't get them every day, but when I do get them, I get them for a while. So, like, I'll get them for like half the day if I do get them. This week we met with our new doctor, and me and Ben both had a lot of anxiety about that just because of everything that's been going on. We actually made arrangements to have Liam at a sitter. That way we could both completely focus on the appointment, because I mean, I think it goes without saying, when you have a 2-year-old at a doctor's office, it's extremely hard to focus and kind of get a good conversation going with your provider. So we did that because this was a really important doctor's appointment. I was truly blown away by this doctor. She spent a lot of time with us. We seriously talked to her for probably 45 minutes, and it was even after 5. Like, we didn't leave the office until like 5:30. And she didn't rush us. She answered every question. She had a really good bedside manner, which to me is extremely, extremely important. That's one of the reasons why I went with the midwife originally, just because of their just demeanor and everything. And it's kind of difficult to explain unless you've kind of experienced both. But I was really, really happy with just this doctor overall. So if you don't know, I have got, or they suspect that I have a placenta accreta, which is where the placenta kind of starts to go through your uterus. It's extremely dangerous for the mom. Really, for the baby, it's not a risk. It's really the mom that's at risk. I talk more in detail about it in my last week's bump date. I'll link that below so you can kind of watch that, because I don't want to talk about all of it all over again. But anyway, we're trying to come up with a game plan because I'm 29 weeks, and typically when you have an accreta, they want to deliver your baby via scheduled C-section between 34 and 36 weeks. And that really freaks us out because, man, 34 weeks is just so early. The first thing that our doctor wanted to do was to get in touch with the office that does my sonograms. They are a high-risk group, and I've been going to them once a month. And funnily enough, I've only been going there because I have a thyroid issue. And textbook, when you have like a pre-existing condition like a thyroid, you automatically get put in the high risk category and you get sonograms once a month. So really there's not an issue with it because my thyroid has been under control the whole pregnancy. But it is good that I was getting these extra sonograms, or they might not have caught the accreta. So anyway, she was wanting to get in touch with them and talk to them more about what they saw and things like that. So that was the first thing, because she wanted to perhaps order an MRI, because with sonograms you can't really tell 100% if you have an accreta or not. You really can't tell with an MRI, but an MRI can give you a tad bit more clarity. That's the thing about having an accreta, is you cannot be 100% until they open you up and they see it and they try to get your placenta out. So that's one of the things that's kind of difficult about all this, is we really won't know until Lucy's out and they're, getting ready to close me back up. The next thing is that my doctor wants to start getting a team together. So we're going to be getting together with the head doctor over at the hospital that I'll be delivering at. He is a high-risk OB. And then also getting in touch with a specialist over there at the hospital that I'll be delivering at. So she's going to be working within the next week, because I'll go see her next week. She's going to be talking with those doctors, and then, everybody kind of meeting together and just kind of so everybody's on the same page moving forward, because we need to decide definitively how early Lucille's going to be delivered, weighing the risks and the benefits and things like that. So really, the doctor's appointment, we didn't have any new developments, but we kind of came up with a game plan, because 29 weeks, I'll be 30 weeks tomorrow. If it's 34 weeks, that's like tomorrow. That's really soon. So we have a lot of ground to cover before then. Just not even us here at home trying to get prepared for her, but just getting my care and everything squared away. Another thing that my doctor wants to do is to have us meet with the nurses and such over at the NICU department. And that's really just so that we can kind of know what to expect and just kind of be familiar with everything, because her being born at 34, 35, 36 weeks, there is a possibility that she will have to be in the NICU. It could be for a day, it could be for a week. We don't know. Maybe she won't have to be in at all. But that's another thing just to kind of help us to be prepared for that. She also wants us to meet with an anesthesiologist because I really want to be awake during the C-section. With Liam, I had to be put under general anesthesia, so both me and Ben had to miss the entire birth, and we didn't get to see him until he was about an hour and a half old. In fact, I didn't even get to see him first. They brought him to Ben first because I was just getting out of surgery and I was, drugged up and foggy and stuff, so they brought Liam to Ben first, which, was fine. But we both just completely missed out on everything, the first cry, just all that stuff. The risk with me being awake during the C-section is if I do have to have a hysterectomy, if they cannot detach my placenta from my uterus, they're going to have to put me under very quickly to perform the hysterectomy because I'm going to be bleeding a lot. And the doctor kind of talked to us about how different a hysterectomy is from a C-section hysterectomy. They are quite different, which I didn't really, I've never thought about it, so I didn't know any of this. But, when you go in and do a hysterectomy, it's one thing, but when you go in and you perform a C-section and then a hysterectomy, it's extremely different and it's very, very risky. The reason for this is because the blood vessels are a lot bigger. So obviously if you cut one or something like that, there's going to be a lot of blood loss. Also, when you're pregnant, your blood volume goes up a ton and you're pumping so much more blood through your system. So with every heartbeat that I have, I'm going to be pushing blood to my uterus and it's just going to be open. So I'm going to be losing a lot of blood. So they're going to try to save my uterus because we weren't done having kids and this could be our last one. They're going to try to save it, but they can't mess around a lot. They can't spend a lot of time trying to detach it because I'm going to be bleeding a lot that whole time, like a lot. The reason they do scheduled C-sections is to have everything in a controlled environment because it's so dangerous. I knew all of this was something to definitely not take lightly, but after talking with this new doctor, I didn't realize how dangerous it is for me. Like I said before, all of this, the placenta and everything, does not affect Lucille at all. She's getting everything she needs. It has no effect on her at all. But the risk is for me because of all of the bleeding and the blood loss, because it's a lot, it's significant. So back to what I was saying, they want to have it in a controlled environment. So they're going to have a ton of blood like right there, ready to go. Everybody is preparing for the worst. That way, if the outcome comes that I just had to have a C-section, I get to keep my uterus, awesome. But they want to prepare for every possible scenario because accretas are not very common. They happen, and typically when somebody has an accreta, they also have a previa, and a previa is where the placenta actually covers the cervix. So they usually go hand in hand. It's not as common to have an accreta. So what I'm getting at is they don't see this a lot, so they have to be extremely cautious and extremely prepared. That's why this doctor is wanting to create this team of several doctors and just be overly prepared, which I think is fantastic because, like I keep saying, it's scary. It's really, really scary. I was thinking yesterday, I'm just like, what if I died? That's a lot to process because, like I said, I'm going to be losing a ton of blood regardless. So it's really scary. Having a C-section by itself is scary enough, but all these other factors are really, really scary. My doctor actually ended up calling me after our appointment. This was like 6 in the evening. She called and she said that she got in touch with the head doctor over at the office that I get my sonograms and talked to him about doing an MRI, and they were both looking at my previous scans and everything, and he suggested that we do not get an MRI. He doesn't really think we need it, and the doctor kind of agreed because, like I said, they were both kind of looking at my my past pictures, basically because it's not going to tell us anything we don't know, so there's really no need to go in there and do extra imaging. So we are not going to be doing the MRI. She also told me that because I do not have the previa, which she confirmed with the doctor looking at my scans, I'm less likely to bleed before having my C-section. Therefore, we may be able to push her delivery date to 35, maybe 36 weeks, because one of me and Ben's biggest concerns is just taking her too early. Because when you're at this stage in the game, every week counts. She's gaining fat every week, her lungs are still developing, so every week, every couple of days counts. So we want to keep her in there as long as possible, but also keeping in mind my safety as well. So I know that was a long explanation about my doctor's appointment, but we're still learning because we have never heard of this before, and honestly, Google doesn't really tell you anything. This is the first time Google's kind of let me down as far as research and stuff. You know, just along with all of this, we're really just trying to process it because it's a lot to deal with, because we had our heart set on trying for a VBAC, a natural VBAC, and I have to have another C-section, and I really did not want to have another C-section. I'm getting really anxious and nervous about the C-section, just like the recovery, because the recovery is just, it's so awful. And I really am not a sissy when it comes to pain, but man, it's painful after the C-section. You're groggy, you don't know what's going on. I hated having to deal with all that. And then it's like, oh, here's this baby that you need to take care of, and you need to nurse him and all this. So I'm really getting anxious about the C-section alone, let alone everything else that could or might happen. So I'm trying to reel it in and just kind of focus on what needs to be done and not stress out a lot, but it's a lot, and I'm really trying to focus and just kind of keep my eyes on the prize. Okay, that is enough of that. Here is the 29-week belly. Look how high she is. Oh my goodness. I thought Liam was high, but man, she's very high. Okay, that is all that I have for my 29-week bump date. Sorry, it was a little long and a little depressing. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel below so that you can keep up with all of my updates moving forward. I will see y'all next time. Bye.